There we go. All right, folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris outside Somerset West in the Western Cape. We're here with the bee guys. We're going to talk a little bit about bees, and we're going to tell you a little bit about the importance of bees and how they do stuff here in the Western Cape. All right, let me get over there. All right. All right, so who we got on camera once again? It's Lawrence and Dylan. No, I was waiting for an answer. No one answered. I don't remember Dylan. I was waiting for Lauren's answer.
I was just going
You're supposed to say, yes, that's me.
They're coming for us. I can hear the chopper.
Yeah, the choppers are coming.
They're coming for us.
So what we're doing now is we're going to inspect the hive, yes?
Absolutely we are, yeah.
Got the smokers down here prepared. One's going really good. The other one's picking up now. So for those who don't know, you've got to go around here carefully because you got to break that seal, don't you?
You have to do it at the back. Never do it at the front. Put on the gloves. Never know with these weeds.
Yeah. Caution's always good.
So promotion is always go from the back, and then you always take a smoker once you open the seal. Is to stick the nozzle in and to roke it 5 times, then remove it, seal it again. And then once you wait,
Give a chance to calm down.
Just
once you wait 20 seconds, you put the smoker down.
Now you have a, looks like a standard hive tool here. It's not a special one you've had made.
Standard. Standard.
You don't want to overcomplicate things. You just lift it up, and you don't ever shake the bees in. You take the lid of the hive and you put it on the entrance so that these bees can try to
Find their way right back in. No, I agree with you. Some beekeepers talk about shaking the bees off. I don't agree with that. That just irritates them unnecessarily.
and it's cool.
Bees always run away from smokes. If you let your smoke here, you'll see that they'll run up, run away from smoke. So they'll just form a little shrink train.
I'll show you.
Now, your seasons are different than ours, of course, in the northern hemisphere.
We
So
have
when are you usually harvesting that?
Generally from October it starts and then it ends right and through May. So there you can see the brood.
Gosh, they seem a lot smaller than our bees. Maybe that's just my eyesight today.
Yeah, it's the capensis is generally smaller. And as you can see, there's brood structure, there's pollen, that's purifying,
Beautiful
some
honey
honey.
crown, yeah.
And you can see they're generally smaller. The African bees are smaller than the Europeans. Not to boast on our part, but that is. And then you can see one of them actually going into the hexagonal cavity to deposit the nectar. And as you can see, this shiny liquid over there, yes, that's newly deposited nectar.
Now, our winters are quite harsh. I imagine here in the Mediterranean climate, the winters aren't too bad. So does that make it easier for hives to survive?
I would say it does. We have quite a wet winter, so you will find quite a lot of things that might go wrong in the hive. You might have a little bit of things that grow in the hive because of the humidity and the wetness. So what we like to do in South Africa, we like to angle the hive forward, so tilt, so any moisture would run out the front, and so we're not saying
This is a 10-frame hive.
that's a 10-frame.
Wow. Oh, now we can hear them.
Ah, there she
There we
goes.
go.
There she goes.
Mature cone.
Now, what's going on over here? Why is this built up so high?
Our bees generally do that. They do it disproportionately. We don't know why they do that. I think
That's just their style.
It's their style. Disorganized maybe.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. Bees are never disorganized. And as you can see, there's larvae growing in those capsules. And then you can see right in those capsules, that liquid, that is royal jelly. So if they want to construct a queen, they'll place
They're
that
set
royal
for it,
jelly
the royal jelly there.
into the capsule, and then over time, as the larvae grows, the bees will make the larval capsule larger to produce a queen.
Yeah, and what they feed them is what determines whether you got a drone or whether you've got a queen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And different cell size also determines what they are going to be. So generally, our cell size is around 3 millimeters. That's for a worker bee, 5 millimeters for a drone, and then about 8 millimeters for a queen.
Yeah, that's something else I was going to say. It seems like not only the bees smaller, but the cells are smaller than what we're accustomed to.
So I can find a patch of drone cells. I'll show you the difference. This honey.
I'm sorry, you were saying the harvesting of the honey starts about October till
October.
Yeah, from about October, and we, what we've always done with our colonies is not over harvest. We don't over open.
leave them plenty to eat.
We just leave them be and let them do their thing and just be bees.
Which is something they do very well.
Just be bees.
And as you can see,
Ooh, that frame is full.
That's beautiful.
You got bit, didn't you?
and as you can see, they're doing the bee chain.
Yeah, they're clinging on each other. That's something they do when they also when they swarm. They look like that.
So a newly tracked swarm, which is a bee that is swarmed off from its old hive, will do a bee chain normally on a branch or any other cavity.
Wow.
And if you're wondering why the frames are empty-ish, because this is a new swarm in the box, we've just rehived it about 2 months ago.
I see.
And they've done very well. See with the KPs, they work very fast.
Incredibly.
Here's a new frame. One of the new frames as well.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So that's
They're
foundation.
clinging the opposite side there.
And what we do, Chris, we use the best foundation that we can buy. We don't use plastic. We don't use
That's
imports.
good.
We use the real thing. We use 32 millimeter frames. So the dealers with the 32 millimeter frame, if you use the thicker old conventional frame,
Yes.
it is said you are able to get 11 frames in instead of 10. So that expands your bee space in your normal straw.
Without adding another hive.
Yeah.
And also the conception with the
Can we swing that over and see the chain there? Oh, there we go. It's a small chain, but they're hanging on there.
and the telekinesis of having the 32 millimeter is it works with our Alpus mellifera capensis, which is our native bee. It's said to enhance their growth production, and because some interesting fact, most of the combs in the Cape bee are 32 millimeter thick.
Well, here, each of them are filling cells right now.
So we accommodate for their building capacity.
And as we mentioned, this is quite time consuming. How often are you coming out and dealing with the bees? Is it daily, weekly?
So we probably would visit this apiary once a week. Because we've got newly planted flowers, we have to visit every 3 days to water. But specifically to play with the bees, probably once a week, once in 2 weeks, I would say.
And how often are you? Because in the States, it's very important for us to look for things like varroa mite and other issues with the health. How often are you looking at the health? Is that part of what you're doing each time?
That's just part of the whole thing. So you would normally recognize when a hive is really suffering and this one's really doing well. She's going to become a super hive, and I think it's all about experience. We don't know everything, but what we do say is each time we have a look, you can gauge it. You can gauge these babies when they're not doing well.
All right.
And interesting fact about
Sorry, can you my anyway, don't staan as jy gesels want dan kan
Maybe you're blocking the broadcast right now. Actually, it's behind you.
What? Oh, it's the A one.
That's live.
Oh,
So,
you have two.
so yeah, so
sorry.
you can come over this way. There you go. There you go.
I just want you to be this.
The viewers are probably like, get out of the way.
So, interesting fact about the capensis, and then if you go upstate, the siculata, is they're very resistant to feral diseases that occur in other countries.
I see.
So they're less prominent to get American foulbrood and chalk disease
That's
in
a nice
our
one, too.
species.
Ah.
And varroa mites are more likely to be managed in our cavities than any other species.
Well, where that comes from in Asia, the bees there had already developed a coexistence over millennia.
That's right. That's right.
But the European honeybee is at a disadvantage. It's going to take time to develop that genetic diversity.
See, our bees are naturally cohesioned with pest maintenance. They will always remove hive beetles, wax moth, etc. And even in once they've even another organism such as a mouse goes into their hive, they will they'll kill it, and then they'll encapsulate it with propolis, forever preserving it for millennia.
Well, the fascinating thing about honey is, they dig up Egyptian tombs of mummies and they find honey that's edible thousands of years later.
Absolutely.
It's incredible substance. And you put this hive together when?
I would say it's about 2 months old.
ago.
Yeah, it's about 2 months old. We put this baby together, and they flourished. Yeah, where they are currently, they really flourished.
And do you produce your own queens, or did you get a queen from elsewhere?
No. So all the queens that we have are all
I have a stung
from
in my neck.
Oh, you got
On their neck.
a little sting.
Yeah, that's
So all the queens that we have are from the swarms that we've rescued. And
And another interesting fact about the African bees in general is you can't introduce a foreign queen to them. The queen has to be established in the hive for them to accept it.
I see.
So the big misconception you use, especially with the European and all the other species, you can introduce different queens, but with African bees you can't. You have to create them yourself from the genus.
Now, we haven't seen the queen yet in this hive. Is she laying?
Yes, yeah.
she's laying, but she's somewhere here. I mean,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
somewhere
big
inside
mass.
here, yeah, somewhere inside here.
That's where the party's at. They're all
That's
there.
where the party is.
Then you got the bodyguards here.
Yep. See that? They're just waiting. They're absolutely incredible. Incredible. It's they're insects, but people call them animals. It's fascinating.
Otherwise, the most fascinating insect to me in the world. Just from the whole hive aspect to the mating of the queen with the drones. That's amazing, to the cells, to the honey, to the propolis, to the wax, to the
Well, and the communication with pheromones and also just the way that it's astounding.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Nature's wonderful.
They communicate telepathically via dogs and other physical traits.
I'm going to bring my camera over here and get a close up of that. Get a good look down in the hive there. Well, they don't seem to be too bothered by our presence.
Too agitated. This is quite a
Um,
palm colony. It's not like a couple of these other ones here that are.
And those are landmines.
they definitely have a personality, don't they, by hive?
And each hive is so different. Each colony is so different.
It's certainly a sound you recognize. Pleasant.
the States, Chris, you have some really awesome beekeepers,
Yes,
some really fantastic guys.
truly talented folks. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely. There's that one gentleman we watch Jeff.
Interesting.
I think he's a pastor of a church. I think down in the south in Mississippi area, and he's just amazing in how he stewards these bees and captures the swarms. You've got amazing beekeepers all over the world.
Well, we have to with all the threats to our bees. I
Absolutely.
mean, varroa mite has been absolutely devastating.
Really.
We're learning how to deal with it. But of course, as I mentioned, the bees don't have the genetic advantage of having coexisted with it for millions of years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a big challenge. And varroa mite is nasty, nasty. Fortunately, our bees are a little bit bigger because it's. I would hope that bees this size wouldn't have to deal with that. So the honey you produce, do you market it locally? Does it go to shops or specialty boutiques?
Yeah. So we might, because we're a little boutique, a little boutique apiary. We market it to folks. Folks know us already. We're privileged at Morkenster. They do sell it at Morkenster as well. And a couple of health shops and private individuals, etc. But we haven't got thousands and thousands of pounds. We're definitely boutique. But what we have is good. And whoops, I see that one, eh?
Yeah, that was
That was a good one.
That was a targeted attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw them launch. There were like 3 of them. They like lined up like fighter pilots and came at you.
So we're gonna get this guy. So yeah, we said we try and market it everywhere and sell it. But to us, it's about conserving the bees, as I said to you. We've done over 170 removals, and some of them have been 40, 50, 60 feet up in the air. Some have been underground, some have been in pipes, drains.
No, bees will set up anywhere.
So we've had some good times with our bees. We've really had some good times. We had some nasty times as well, but predominantly they've been wonderful times.
And it's just the 2 of you that run this.
Just the two of us.
Just the 2 of us.
Just the 2 of us.
Just the 2 of us.
We can make it if we try.
Absolutely, but Mom.
I never said I could sing. It's not on my CD.
Come on. But my dear wife is the integral part. She does all the bottling and labeling. She does a lot of marketing. And our whole family. My daughter's a chef, so
Oh, wow.
yeah. So you can imagine the dishes that she prepares with honey. We're very privileged to have.
Well, I want to take a second, if you don't mind, and just promote something. I'm wearing my veteran's cap from Operation Enduring Freedom. That's not what I want to promote, but just to show that I'm a U.S. military veteran. And there's a program in America run by Michigan State University. It's called Heroes to Hives. And Heroes to Hives provides free education to train veterans to be beekeepers.
Wow.
It's an absolutely amazing program. I'm a graduate of it, just graduated in December, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here. So it's really nice that they would do that. It helps the bees, it helps agriculture, and it's really great for veterans. Because as you can see, it takes patience, calm, and the ability to respond to a crisis in order to do this. And veterans usually have those talents.
They've been trained that way, and what a wonderful program to start in the States. I wish they would do that here, because firstly it's going to create a lot of employment.
That's true.
It's going to build the culture of the bees. And Chris, you know what? Then you would have less people that seem to take hives, steal them, and it just builds that culture, preserving our environment, our world environment. As I said on one of our videos, the world is shrinking. The world is shrinking in terms of where these beautiful creatures stay. And we're expanding as humans. We're not giving them a chance to just be a bee. I mean, they've been
Gobbling up their natural environment.
4,000 years they've been around. So we need to look after them and steward them the right way.
Absolutely. You talk about creating employment and also how it impacts the environment, but I think also when people put sweat equity into something like this or agriculture, they have a far better appreciation for what it takes to survive and to be successful. And it really, I think, has an impact with an individual's relationship with nature and the respect for others. That's been my experience.
I so agree with you. That is just, that's so in tune with the way I think, is that giving something back, and by giving your sweat of your brow, you're more inherent to believe in it and to love it. And I've fallen in love with bees. I mean, if you think about it, 80% of the bees in here are female. So
All right,
that-
well, we're not going to go down that road.
that's quite a statement that I'm making that my wife is going to say. I've got a lot of friends here, but it's a love affair that you have. And I know beekeepers in the States, in Europe, America, wherever, they have this inherent love affair with bees. They're beautiful. It's not about the stings. It's not about the honey.
No, and I suppose that's a good point. Hey, Dylan, let me ask you that question. If I mean, it's okay to do this for the honey production because you run a business. But I mean, honestly, there are many other reasons to do it other than just honey production and making money from producing honey. Yeah, you just said exactly some of the reasons.
And it's always been. I'm not sure if it's his passion. But I'll talk about myself. I've always had a contributing passion to conservation and preserving our environments throughout the world. And I think the one contributing aspects to this is protecting our pollinators. And this is the main focus. The bees, this is a byproduct, it's just to attract the people because they know the insect. But the actual reason is to attract other interests such as other pollinators, the solitary bees, the wasps, the butterflies, every other organism that contributes to our natural well-being.
And you know,
Oh, that's well stated.
yeah, you know, it's our slogan says beekeeping to us is not a hobby; it's a calling. And we were called to be custodians of bees. They don't belong to us, not at all.
They don't
custodians.
come when you call them either.
No, they don't. They don't listen to you, but
They're a lot like children.
they're all like our children. So
Agreed.
we're custodians, and we love them dearly. We love every swarm, every colony that we have. We love. And when we lose one, it's very hard. It's hard because we've lost
But you-
50,000.
I was going to say, you do lose hives though.
You do lose. So we do lose. We've got one down there that we've lost, and it's lying there. We've got to take it back. It's full of wax moth and all those other things.
It's a hit and miss situation. How I would grade it, it's a 50% chance of you actually being successful.
That's a tough field.
So it's a large margin for error, not on our part, but whether they want to settle down into our hive, it's their choice entirely.
Because if you look at the maths, Chris, at the end of the day, we've rescued 170. We've only got 45, so that's kind of not very good. But we believe that.
But if you hadn't rescued them to 70, there'd be zero.
There would be zero. You're correct. But the ones that have stayed have wanted to stay. The ones that have left, some we've just released back into tree stumps, into nature, into wherever.
So there you go.
She wants to stay. She wants
And
to
had
stay.
fun.
And we had fun in the process. Got stung in the process.
Yeah.
All of those
I wouldn't call that fun, but
No,
okay.
it's not fun. No, it's not.
Excellent. So we're going to close this one up now?
Yep, we're gonna close this puppy.
I have a question. Do you have a bee joke?
I mustn't say this, but we are BE compliant. I never said
I knew that was coming.
So what I like to do is I like to just like slide
they
it
don't get
on
smushed.
slowly. So they don't. And I never lift it up because I can squash them.
Yeah, they're mad now. This one just tried
Engine's
to sting
coming
me.
on. The engine's coming
Look
on.
at that, Lawrence. He tried to sting me. Look,
Look at that, eh? Comes in the glove.
right into the glove. Wow. Well, they got angry when he pushed that lid.
You know,
open.
I've seen a bee do this, and I've seen her actually pull the sting out and pull it back into her body.
Ah.
I've seen it happen. Oh, she's gone. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. She's not going to make it.
No.
Sorry, little
Nah,
lady.
she was just defending.
It was just
Good thing I had the glove on.
Yep.
It's all Dylan's fault. He pissed the bee off, not me.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty.
Yeah, they seem to want to hang around me for some reason.
maybe the smell of the soot.
Could be.
So we don't, I don't advocate smoking that because You can burn their wings. So I like to
Do it from a distance.
from a distance. Yeah, it's all natural materials. We've tried the cardboard. We've
Tied
tried
down.
everything.
All right, was all boxed back up.
She's back up.
We're alive. Although I seem to have a crowd still flying around me. The viewers might be able to hear the bees swarming around me.
There must be fans.
They love the suit. They love the suit.
Dogs and cats like me. I didn't know bees like me so much. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll have some more footage. So this is Chris in Western Cape, down near Somerset West. And I'm here with Lawrence and with Dylan. And we've just been taking a look at one of the hives here that they've got set up. And here we go. Put it at the back of the shirt so you can see the Cape Honeybee Conservancy, saving one bee at a time. Love it. I love it. I love it. Let me make sure they actually showed up on camera there. There you go. Brilliant. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. Hope that you found it interesting. Feel free to leave a comment behind. And if you got any questions for these gentlemen, just post it and we'll try to get the question to them later on. Thanks a lot. And we'll catch you here next time on Chris Wyatt Africa Reports. All right, let me shut this down. It's going to be hard to do with the glove on. So now I'm going to run a risk here. Make sure there's no bees. I'm going to pinch. Thank you. Take the glove. There we go. Okay.